When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of a storm, there's a golden sky and the sweet silver song of our love. Walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain, though your dreams be blessed and blown. Walk on with your hope in your heart, and you'll never walk alone. You'll never walk alone.
Yeah.
One of my favorite songs from Carousel. No, I say that every time. It's not from Carousel. It's Sound of Music.
I am not the one this time.
The one time I forgot. Hi everybody, how are you doing? How is your evening going? Thank you for joining us this evening here for a new song. That was "You'll Never Walk Alone" again from, and it just left my brain. I just said
Sound of Music. Sound of Music. Sound of Music. Ah, hills.
Yes, don't tempt me, but we will sing
please,
it.
please.
But yes, welcome. Start with Ashley. How are you doing tonight?
Hi, it's Saturday. I'm all right. I'm great, actually.
You know, that deserves an applause. Yes. It's a lot to be doing great today.
Hey.
Hey. Oh.
If I could just walk down the street and just have people just, and I'm feeling great, that'd be everything. One of my mentors posted, she said, it's okay to have a great day. Like, it's okay. It's actually okay. You don't have to, even if everything isn't perfect in your life, like, it's okay. Just have a good day. So,
Well, I'm glad you're having a good day
Thank
and a great
you.
day.
Thank you.
Marcus, how you doing?
I am blessed. Thank you, God. No, I'm blessed. I'm blessed. Glad to be alive. And that's it.
Okay.
I'm blessed. I really am. Ooh, I could cry. I'm really blessed right now.
Good.
So, wait, sorry. Yeah.
yeah, you're right. That will not be heard.
No, yeah, I'm thankful. I'm in a period of gratefulness right now.
Yeah.
That's where I am.
Well, you hopping all over the place because you were where were you?
I just got back from Texas.
That's right, Texas.
Don't go. Don't go if you don't have to.
Oh, wow.
Oh. Uh-oh.
They're not wearing masks, are they?
What's wrong?
They don't believe it's real, y'all.
Really?
Not everybody. It was better than I thought, but on my first day going to set, I was shooting a movie down there. First day I'm going to set. The guy who is supposed to be you know what? Let me not.
Well, I'm
You're like,
not
'cause we
going to
just
text
filmed
no
this
time
film.
soon. I want to know.
I'm just going to tell you that.
That might have to be
my
for-
face from Uber. Some people like they don't believe that it's real. That like the disease is real.
Okay.
And it was just like, what a way to welcome me to your great state.
Bank of Texas.
One thing I've noticed about people generally is that certain people, not everybody, but certain people definitely have the ability to ignore what is right in front of them. Have the ability to create an alternate reality in a way that is
because I don't believe in
scary.
like ignorance anymore. I think it's like willful ignorance.
Mhm.
You're just choosing to not believe what's there.
It's like what the uber wealthy does.
Yeah.
Like okay, this is kind of a sidebar, but I love the show Downton Abbey. I don't know if anybody watches that show. But so there's like the upstairs people and the downstairs people. And of course the downstairs, that's the staff and everything. And the upstairs, and this is also in the early 20th century. And so the people upstairs are like, when bad things happen, they're like, oh, this is just so unfortunate. This is just such an inconvenience. I was supposed to have a dinner tonight, and somebody got some sort of flu or something, and they were like, "Oh God, do we have to cancel the dinner? Like this is, oh God."
I love that. That's the first thought. Do we have to cancel our dinner?
Somebody one of the staff members, they had they had to go and check on their sick, dying bed father, and they were like, "Oh gosh, this is just horrible. Now who are we gonna get to serve the da 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 da?" And it's like they just completely remove themselves from any upset. And I think it's the same way with some people who just refuse to. They don't want to deal with any upset. And there's so much to be upset about. So I mean, I can't completely blame people, but there are people who have the actual luxury of removing themselves from it. Anyway, that was just an aside.
I mean, yeah, you look at COVID. I mean, most of the people, I live at like the top of the Upper East Side, and you look at a lot of the buildings in this neighborhood were empty. They either moved out or they packed their bags and went to their other houses.
Right.
My partner is from Amagansett, which is kind of out in the Hamptons, and he went out there to visit his parents, and he was like, he's lived out there all of his life. He's like, I've never seen traffic in the off season like this. And because the on season when everybody's out there is usually like Memorial Day to Labor Day.
Yeah.
I think that was the right one.
To their houses.
Yes, and relax. But then they're back to the city, back to that usually after that. But he was like, this has never been like that because a lot of people have bought and moved out.
Yeah.
Because they were able to just remove themselves.
That's what's happened.
And if
in
I
Jersey.
could, I would have as well.
Yes, it surely would.
Yeah.
But that is a privilege.
Yeah. It is. What are we talking about today?
So let's start with the prayer of the week. This week, the prayer of the week is, Gracious Lord, thank you for every experience and every witness of your faithful love, including those sent to walk and talk with us along the way.
I have things to say about this.
Yeah.
So, read it one more time.
Gracious Lord, thank you for every experience and every witness of your faithful love, including those sent to walk and talk with us along the way.
Okay. So for the past, I don't know how many years, I have intentionally detached myself from the institution of church. Not my belief in Christ, not my belief and love of God, but the institution of the church, which was very difficult for me because, especially when I had my daughter, because it was like, oh God, well, now how am I supposed to teach her? How am I supposed to, how will she know? And for a long time, I felt guilty about it. I didn't feel guilty about questioning. I just felt guilty about not going. And so I guess it's almost been about 9 years or so now, because the beautiful thing that happened is that once we moved here, we being me and my husband, we found a community of people who taught us how to see, or not who taught us, who affirmed us in the seeing of God in unconventional places. And it took a long time for me to feel okay and feel settled in that space. And recently, I've kind of had this revelation, and I feel like God is saying, it's all right. Like, this was a part of my plan all along, for you to be in question about how to worship and how to commune with me. Like, I didn't go anywhere. In all of the areas and all of the ways that you are searching for me, searching for a more, what's the word? Real, for lack of a better word. I can't, it's right on the tip of my tongue, the word that I want to say. But a real, an actual, authentic, thank you, relationship with me. Everywhere that you have searched, I was there. I already knew that this was going to happen. And so when I hear that, it makes me think about the faithfulness of God and the like being able to count on God. And we hear that phrase a lot, like, you can count on him, you can count on. But when you really experience that, that's what that brings to mind, is like actually experiencing being able to count on God in places that are other than an actual church building. So yeah, like God's love is just real. It's real and it's everywhere. And I have found and I'm still learning how to, or trying to figure out what it is, where's the best place for me to commune with God and to convey that to my daughter. Because it's important for me that she understands that, but it's also important for me that she understands that God is something that's so much bigger than being a he, being a she, being in a specific place, being through one religion. Like, God is so much bigger, and God is faithful. When you are not just faithful to God, but what being faithful to God means being faithful to who God made you to be.
And that's hard.
Those are my thoughts. Oh, it's impossible. That's why so many people are just like out here in the streets, like, what am I doing with my life? You know, because and if you were raised in a more traditional or conventional setting, thinking like that means only one thing. It means like being faithful to your authentic self means being heterosexual, being name some other conventional things that most people in a church setting would believe. Conservative means
for some congregations, white.
Right. It means you can't cuss. It means you know what I mean? Like, and all of these things are not what I believe. I won't say they're not true because I can't speak for other people, but for me, God is so much bigger. And I have August, my daughter's name is August. Her godfather, we talk a lot about this, and one of the things that sticks with me is that he's said is like, God is not that petty. We're petty. Like, but God is not so petty as to leave you alone because in this moment you're questioning how God exists, or you're questioning how you're supposed to serve God, or how the things that happen on earth can happen on earth. God's not going to leave you alone just because of that. God's not that petty, So that's all.
Can I add on to that real quick?
Of course you can. Go ahead and add the words. Say 'em.
Because I am almost on the exact same spiritual path as you.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, like you are speaking from my mind.
Uh-huh.
And only thing I want to add to it is that for me, it started happening over the past year, and I'm a big reader. The book, The Color Purple, absolutely changed my life. To this day, like that is the book that truly, honest to God, changed my life. And there's a whole bunch of different things that I highlighted throughout. There's a passage in it, because throughout the way that the book is set up, I'm sure most people have seen the movie, seen the musical. But in the book, every single chapter is a letter from Celie to God. So it always starts, "Dear God, today this happened, blah, 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 blah." And that's what every chapter is. And she gets to a point at the end of the book where she goes, I might not get it all the way correctly, but she goes, "Dear God, dear stars, dear trees, dear sky."
Right.
The sky, dear moon,
Dear people,
everything.
And it's always been the everything for me.
Yeah.
And I started to see see God in everything.
Mm-hmm.
I call God Mother, Father, God, because like you said, it's so much more than just a specific. But no, there's like I was in Texas and I saw the second largest canyon in America after the Grand Canyon, and I just saw God. Like it was a natural occurring, beautiful sight that didn't seem real when I was looking at it.
Yeah.
And it's just like in those, and the biggest thing that I see is when I was in Vermont doing a play years ago, there was this beautiful waterfall, and I just felt, there was something in me that just released.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, look at that. That is where God is.
Yeah.
God is in every single little thing. And I agree with you 100%. It's just, I just see it now as so much bigger, and I look for it.
Yeah.
Now I seek it out. So I go, where's the God in that? And you find it, and you see things differently that way. I know this is a little off topic from the quote, but I just felt that.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
You know the song "Yes, God Is Real"? You don't know that?
I'm not gonna
See, I knew. See, I should have brought the hymnal down here because
I'm not gonna say no because I might
pull up the lyrics.
I might recognize it. Yes, God is real.
See, that's why I shouldn't have brought the hymn down here, because I was going to pull a bunch of stuff that nobody knows. And I want to open this up to the chat as well. This question, Marcus, were you raised in the church?
I was 100%. Before I was an actor, I was like a singer in the church. I was always scared to sing in church. It's funny because I was always scared to sing in church, but then when we have like Bible study at my grandmama's house, my cousins would be leading a song and whatnot. And all of the aunties would be like, "Yeah, Ray, sing." And I'm like, "Wait, I can sing better than him."
Yeah.
Like, hold on a minute.
Right. I'm like, "Wait, but I can sing too." So hold up. And so then I get all, I want to jump in, but they're like, "No, you was nervous. Now you want to sing."
Ooh.
Anyway, so no, yeah, I was raised on my mom's side. It was more like I think it was Presbyterian, more like I don't know what the word is, more like reserved. And then on my dad's side, it was shouting. I don't know what the denomination was.
Pentecostal, probably.
Pentecostal or Baptist.
It was to the point where I'll never forget. I see it in my eyes every day. I was like maybe 8, 7, 6, 9, around there, and I'm sitting in church, and I called my grandmama because I was the singular person in the church not shouting. I was like,
"You're like, what is?
Who gonna take me home?" People were laid out on the floor. People going to the bathroom screaming. Like, it was hot in there.
It's time to go.
You're like,
Who's gonna take me home?
I was having a good time. I'm just like, so when it's all said and done, who gonna get up and take me home? It was one of those churches, but that's really where I learned.
You like, God, I don't know how I'm gonna get home.
You good? hello.
Because you
No.
don't want to touch somebody because they get speared again.
Right.
It's like, ah!
You know, some of them folks be jumping.
Right.
Knock yourself out.
No, yeah. So I was raised in that, and so it felt very like, I feel like that's what gave me kind of the ceilings of like, maybe it's not just so traditional. Because I mean, me personally, like, sometimes a traditional church setting makes me a little uncomfortable. Because it just feels so much less. It feels so much more about like, let's make sure we're doing these things to please God.
There's less grace.
And there's less grace, and there's just less like relationship, connection. I feel like that's why, especially in a black church, music is so important, because you feel it. Like, you know, music is just something that you feel, and you open up those emotions, and you can feel a spiritual connection. I feel like sometimes some organizations forget that, and it's just more about make sure you tithe.
Yeah.
You say your prayer. Like even when someone's giving a prayer, and it's just like a prayer.
Right.
Like, let me like, you know, what's on your mind?
When they say Father God like 50 times in the prayer. Like,
Well, because like, you know,
hallelujah, Father God.
I
On
wrote
today
a
we come to you
show.
on this Saturday, Father God, and we want to say that we thank you for everything that you've done, Father God, and we want to just bless the hands that have prepared the food, Father God, and it's like, but we're not even eating anything.
it's
yet.
like he heard you the first
The
time.
first time
I
you
heard
said
you the
it,
first time. You didn't even have to say nothing.
Uh-huh.
You just had to talk.
just say
He
it,
was always
yeah.
listening.
Yeah.
But so this song, I knew you. So I'm going to teach you the chorus, and you can sing along in a minute.
What's something for? Teach, Pastor.
You funny. So the chorus goes, yes, God is real. He's real in my soul. Yes, God is real, for he has washed and made me whole. His love for me is like pure gold. Yes, God is real, for I can feel him in my soul.
This sounds familiar.
Let's do that part. Just yes, God is real. Yes, God is real. He's real in my
soul.
Yes, God is real.
Yes, God is
for
real.
he has washed and made me whole. His love for me is like pure gold. It's like pure gold.
Yes, God is real.
He's
for
real.
I can feel him in my soul.
So the verse is, there are some things I may not know. There are some places I cannot go. But I am sure of this one thing, that God is real, for I can feel him in my soul. Yes, God is real. God is real. He's real in my soul.
Yes, God is real.
For he has washed and made me whole. His love for me is like pure gold. Yes, God is real, for I can feel him in my soul. But like what you said about that, you know, yes,
Yeah.
God is real.
Yeah.
Because we feel him in our soul, in our spot. You know, there's this on Netflix, there's a documentary, In Our Mother's Gardens. And on there, one of the women, her name is Dr. Coco. And she says, you know, she didn't grow up in the church. She went to church, but didn't necessarily grow up in the church like a lot of black people do. And she said, one thing I do know is when I go into these churches, when it's real in the body. You can see it.
Yeah.
And to go back to what you were talking about,
Say it.
Yeah.
you can see it in the body.
You feel it.
Yes, God is real.
Real.
He's real in my soul.
Yes, God is real.
For He has washed and made me whole.
His love for me is like pure gold. Yes, God is real, for I can feel
Him in my soul.
That's beautiful. I had somebody tell me once that I grew up AME, African Methodist Episcopal, and I had this person who has talked a lot about church hurt, for many reasons, but he's gay, and but I've had this one person talk to me a lot about church hurt, and we were just sitting around talking. We were all in a show together, and we were sitting around talking, and everybody was going around saying what denomination they were, and I was like, oh, I was raised AME, and he said to me, he was like, oh yeah, y'all just be doing whatever y'all want over there. Y'all don't have no rules. Y'all don't have no structure. Like, y'all probably don't even be singing hymns and stuff. And that hurt my feelings so bad. Because I was in like the thick of the feeling like an illegitimate already. And so, you know, a couple of the people that were around, they kind of like snickered, you know. And I thought, I mean, you know, hurt people. But like, I thought to myself, like, how could you say something like that? Like, you're just judging you're just judging somebody based on what you think their experience was. And I have my own personal qualms about my church experience growing up, but to discount somebody's spiritual upbringing and existence, and you just never know what somebody's going through, and so for you to just like cast them out because they weren't the right denomination, and you know, it like felt like he was tearing me down, and like he went on a thing like about all you know. So, and that has stuck with me. That has like definitely stuck with me, where to the point now when I see him, I don't really say much. I don't really. And the crazy thing is, like, he's the super talented person, and I'm like, okay, because you know, you claim to have this whatever churchy spirit and all of this, and you were raised with clout and all of this. You were raised in the right denomination, but you're still treating people like trash. You know. And again,
you see that in so many places.
Yeah.
You see that in the Broadway community. You see that within the elitism within Black culture itself.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, you know, there's the problems we have to deal with of how we treat each other, but then there's the problems we have to deal with how we treat the people that are within our own community.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like things like that when I think about taking my daughter to church, like I remember the things that made me so happy about church, or like the happy memories that I had of wearing pretty dresses, having lots of Vaseline on my legs and my arms because I had to go to church, you know. Having my hair done, and
them Easter speeches.
you know, yeah. And some of my closest friends I found at church, and now we have like 30 plus years of friendship. But when I think about all the other stuff, the kind of the pomp and circumstance of church, like I'm not interested in lending that experience to her yet.
And there are definitely there's two types of pomp and circumstance, because there is something beautiful. Like I think about like the tradition that we do here on like Christmas Eve at Silent Night on the last verse. We sing an a cappella and everybody raises their candles up. Like there is and even like, or if in like, you know, holy, holy, holy. I think about those. There's the good hymns that have that pomp and circumstance.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's, going back to this word, the petty pomp and circumstance.
Right.
The
because
politics.
that to me is not pomp and circumstance. That to me is custom and reverence and tradition.
Mm-hmm.
Pomp and circumstance is the like, and Father God, and hallelujah, and the revving up, you know. But we 5 minutes into the sermon, or we like 10 minutes. What's the lesson? I haven't even learned the lesson.
When I went to visit, I went to, the church. I cannot think of the church. The 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham, where the Forest Pounding Girl, that's the name of the show we're on. But I went there to do research for a show. And we went to the Sunday service, and it started out, and the whole sermon, I kept thinking in my head, why are you yelling at me?
Why are you yelling at
me?
God like this?
The microphone is loud enough, I can hear you. Why are you yelling at me?
I like a little yell.
And
well, every now and then, yes, but you think about this in a well curated like acting performance.
Yes,
you
my husband
have
says that a lot.
your a really good. Like a really good actor or actress can curb, and a really good pastor can curb it so that those moments, you have those moments of strength and those moments of, but they're very specific, they're very well thought out, versus he just yelled the whole time.
And I didn't learn anything. No. Like, what from that have I learned about how to be more like Christ? And I think, you know, we always talk about how we as the Black community say, but black people, we are not a monolith. We are not a monolith. But then somehow we only feel legitimized in our spirituality in those settings. And that is as if that is the only way that it is only normal that we as Black people commune with God in that way, versus maybe communing at home with God in meditation with some candles, or with 2, 3, or 4 people sitting at home in the living room, and we just happen to start it comes up in conversation, and now we have had a complete moment of worship. You know what I mean? These are just thoughts. And in all of that, what I love is that God never leaves us. In all the questioning and the figuring out, where can we meet him? Where is it okay for us to meet? I say him, but patriarchy. Gosh. God. Just God. Where
it's all ingrained. It really is ingrained. Because I do that all the time too, and I go, oh yes, no. And it's like, because you have to remember, that's all stuff we decided. This is all the stuff. Well, not we, but what I mean, sorry, humans.
Yep.
Yeah.
Humans added this layer of pettiness and petty stuff. And maybe, and probably in the large picture, which will, in the long run, be unnecessary.
Right.
All of this fighting that's going on.
Right.
All over this gender or that gender or have that and whatnot. But in the end, in the long run, probably not going to matter.
I'm pretty sure it won't.
I'm positive it won't. I'm just going to go ahead and say.
And so it's like, I often find there are things, or I often find myself thinking, and I think I even said this last week, there are certain things that you fight for in order of knowing that it will never happen within your lifetime. Mm-hmm. But then there are certain fights that you have that you go, even outside of my lifetime, what is this going to accomplish? What is fighting over what is me not understanding? Not me understanding. There's a proper word, but what is me not agreeing with how this person sees themselves going to change about the world?
It sounds like common sense, don't it? To some people. They will sit here and argue down about.
But like you said, you just got back from a group of folks that don't even believe that COVID is real.
Okay.
So
I would say that
not surprised.
Anything really, it made me not even. This isn't even a judgment; it's just a comment. It made me really realize how your locale changes what you experience and what you believe and all of that. Like where you are in the world. Like Texas is so far from New York, and not just geographically. They're just, you know what I mean?
I often talk about the South feels like it's it's not quite, it hadn't quite made 2021. It's still like some parts are still in 1980, some parts are still in 1939.
I feel so bad too.
What'd you say? 1939. Oh my.
Because I want to go.
You go into some deep parts of Alabama, you don't know what
everybody
you're find.
is, like I want to get there and I want to assume that like, okay, I don't want to assume that because you're from the South that you're this way.
Right, because I have one of my best friends, she cannot stand it. She's from North Carolina, and she cannot stand it when people are like, well, because in the South.
Yeah.
She's like, we're not all.
It's real though, because we're from
the
South.
Yeah, we are.
But it's that thing of like, because my co-star in this movie plays my dad. He's obviously a black man, and he was talking about like we were close to like the last day of shooting, and we both saw each other at the gym in the hotel. And he was like, man, I've had a great time, but I can't wait to go home. And at one point he was just like, yeah, I'm just tired of being on alert. I was like, that's real. That's real, And I mean, there's never a point in my time down there where I felt unsafe. But I'm not gonna lie and act like I wasn't 10 times more on alert than I would be in my Brooklyn neighborhood where everybody is speaking patois and they from the Caribbean.
Right.
And so it's just that thing of like, when it comes to even that, when it comes to like, what people believe and don't believe and what people think and don't think, it's just like, it's hard not to make assumptions because you have to make assumptions to survive as a black man.
Yeah.
Black woman.
Well, and that's
like anything.
Kind of my like, that's why for me too, like stereotypes tend to be a double-edged sword because they are as humans how we learn to survive.
And understand, yeah.
But at the same time, if we are claiming we are so much smarter than, we are so much better than these people in the past, we should be able to curb that natural instinct like we do other ones.
I hear you. I think it's less that we need stereotypes, and is that since the dominant culture created these stereotypes, the subordinate culture had to create stereotypes to survive. Yeah. For instance, here's an example. If the stereotype is because I wear my do-rag, I wear a do-rag. Because I wear my do-rag, I must be a gangbanger. I'm walking down the street, I must be. So me as me, I have that stereotype in the South, like, okay, well, I'm sure everybody's looking at me like I'm a gangbanger. And so I assume that other people are going to look at me like I'm crazy and look like they don't understand me and that they might be racist. And so had the stereotype had not been put on to me, there'd be no stereotype to pull back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so,
well, and what I'm saying too is that stereotypes are human nature, but we should be able to overcome them because we are smarter than.
Why are they human nature though?
But like for instance, just like at an animal level, like a cheetah knows that this animal of these color, like in nature, frogs, like poisonous frogs, are bright color because they're poisonous.
Right.
Like things like that. Like we do, and other animals look at the color of things. So think like really boiling it down to that level.
Right.
But since we are smarter than, we should be able to curb that instinct. Just like we don't go out, killing each other. Well, some people. Some people. But the majority of people don't go around.
Yeah.
I
think it's because it's the habit that, for whatever reason, it is a human habit and need to categorize things.
agree.
But it's when it goes too far to the left. But also, like, we know that there are some of the theories behind why we need to understand it have been manipulated. And that can go on to a whole nother.
It's just like the world is complex, and I just feel like if everyone did what we do right now and sitting here and like trying to figure it out a little bit instead of just, oh, this is how life is.
When I was watching, this thing where a woman was talking about she was in a cult, and she had gotten out of it. She had gotten out, but it was like a far leftist, like political cult. And so, like, her getting out of it was like they had a meeting and then they decided to do it.
Nice.
I want to go.
I think we should just end it.
But she said something where it's like, I'm trying to remember exactly what she said, but like the difference between religion and a cult is that in a religion, you have freedom of thought and there's freedom around the rules. In a cult, there is no individuality. There's no freedom. Mm-hmm. In religion, we should. And they come and go, oh, well, that's not how folks usually run it.
That's what I was going to say. But depending on where you at, there is no bend to the rules. You know what I mean? There's rules, and that's it. Mm-hmm. And that kind of goes back to what she was talking about like her spiritual journey and how that related to my spiritual journey. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's like it's that thing of, I was thinking about this in the shower like yesterday morning. I swear it was so random. But yeah, just like the idea of like, we say it all the time, but truly think about how much we pick and choose from the Bible. How much of it we pick and choose.
Another thing that, again, more than was, number one, written by man, and therefore is imperfect. Number two, whether they were prophets or not, they curbed it to just like every man before them. Why should we believe that they don't have the same human faults we did? Right. Curbed it for the outcome they wanted. And more than likely was written by a whitish man. So, of some, whatever that equivalent, So there's probably even stuff in there that's been left out. I mean, there are other writings that from that time period that go along with it. And so it's like, I hate when people start taking all of these little verses, these little chunks of that, and then like the Bible says this is like, well, no, but if you read the whole chapter, actually the Bible says this.
Context clues.
And then if you read the whole thing, the whole story is telling you.
Look at that. If you read the whole thing.
Simple things. Love one another. I ask you.
Let me stop.
We'll find it. But like love, kindness, the things, ironically, that most religions line up on.
Yep.
As simple as that. But again, be complicated.
There was, I can't think of his name, Penn and Gillette. I can't remember. I think it's Penn. Not Penn and Gillette. Penn and Teller. Penn and Gillette. I don't know where Gillette came from. Yeah, I know. But Penn, I believe it's Penn, who is an atheist, was talking about, I don't believe in God, but at the end of the day, we both believe that we should be good people.
Yeah.
We both believe that we shouldn't kill each other.
Yep.
Right? Know. And so it's like, maybe we start with finding those common chunks instead of trying to go, oh, was racist and this is a macro. Instead of let's find the things that we, it's a lot. It's a lot, but maybe that's the key. Saying, okay, where do we all agree on, and like those simple things.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot when you start to bring up that, because it's, even though we did not live through 400 years of slavery, we're not 400 years old, but it's ingrained in our DNA.
Oh yes.
Actually, scientifically, yes.
And so regardless of whether anybody here did any of the stuff, we still feel it, and so it still needs to be worked out, and that's going to take a long time, probably long past we even hear. Now, probably.
Yeah, because then when you talk about like, oh, if we just start with love, well then, but you kind of have to start. You can't start with love because then you have to take everyone's personal experience into account, and if they were abused, what did love look like to them? And it's It's so much.
It is. Well, I mean, too, from the point of view of like, okay, we both agree on, I want to treat people like a good human.
Right.
So then we go, how I'm not a white person, but like then a white person would say, how can I as a white person treat you and
Right.
start? Because it's like sometimes when I think about it, I don't even know where to start. When with some people, like there's been a couple things, like I know there's been a couple people that I haven't talked to since the pandemic started, because it's like, I know we need to have a conversation, but I don't even have the words yet to start that. So it's like, where do you pick a starting place?
Yeah. What are we singing?
What are you gonna say?
I don't know.
What are we singing?
I'm just playing.
What are we singing? Let's sing something.
You want to try your thing, your song?
You want to try your thing?
Now this will be fun.
Won't it?
Because
Okay.
I've only heard this song once, and it wasn't with you singing it, and I know you're not going to sing it like you sung it. So I'm just going to give you your starting chord, and I'm just going to follow you.
Was that the starting chord?
There comes a time. That's what he has.
Boom. There comes a time in everyone's life when nothing seems to go your way, when nothing seems to turn out right. There may come a time you just can't seem to find your place, and for every door you open, seems like you get too slammed in your face. That's when you need someone that you can call when all your faith is gone. Feels like you can't go on. Let it be me. Let it be me. If it's a friend you need, let it be me. Let it be me. Feels like you're always coming up last. Pockets full of nothing, ain't got no cash. No matter where you turn, you ain't got no place to stand. You reach out for something and they slap your hand. I remember all too well how it feels to be all alone. You feel like you'd give everything for just a little place you can call your own. That's when you need someone that you can call when all your faith is gone. You feel like you can't go on. Let it be me. Let it be me. If it's a friend you need, let it be me. Let it be me.
Pretty.
If it's a friend that you need, let it be me. Because she talks beautifully in the end of... Oop, I just lost my page. What happened to it?
Who wrote this?
Ray.
Ray.
People are like, hooray.
Ray.
Hooray. Like you know Ray.
Right. Ray.
Well, because she says, I think it's beautiful because it's at the end of the prayer this week, including those sent to walk and talk with us along the way.
You need them.
It's so important. Friendship is so important. It's so important.
Yeah.
And different types of friendship.
Yeah.
Diversity in friendship.
Just family, anybody, just somebody to walk the journey with you at some point. You know, you're on your own path, but sometimes you had to step over to somebody, walk on and help you a little on the way. It ain't going about their business. But no, yeah, like it's real. That's why, you know, the whole point is to love and to uplift yourself as well as others, because when the time comes that you need it, you praying that it comes, and when it comes, I'll never forget. There was one point. Oh my God, I could cry thinking about it. I was about to move out of this apartment. Well, I was like, I have to move out of this apartment. It was a bad situation, and I was so stressed about it. And I'm just walking headed back to the apartment, just walking. And man, when I tell you God is real, when I tell you I'm just walking, and this lady behind me just turns around and said, whatever it is, let it go.
Hey.
When I tell you, I literally broke down.
Yeah.
She said, whatever it is, let it go. Didn't he say that whoever shall believe in me will have everlasting peace? Let it go. And then she just turned around and walked away.
That's crazy when things like that happen. Just like
It's in my journal. I was just sitting there crying. I was like, what? Do you know me?
right.
But it was like, let it go. And I mean, it took a little bit. I had to work at it, but I finally let it go, and it worked out.
Yeah.
But like, it was that moment. Like, what prompted her to say that? I don't know what it could have been.
You know, I don't know if everybody gets it, but every now and again I get these I'll fill in my head. Like I'll see somebody and a word will pass across my head. I usually never act upon it. But sometimes it just is.
Yeah, sometimes you just that's what it's bless somebody. Bless somebody if you can.
Well, I mean, I believe wholeheartedly that God uses people to say things to you, and the only way for it to like really penetrate you is if it comes from somewhere that you're not expecting. Because of course, if you've been
guard has to be down.
Right, if you've been talking to your mama the whole time, mama, you supposed to say that. Talk to your husband, talk to your siblings, your friends. Y'all supposed to say that because y'all love me. But when it comes from a source that's like, wait, what? Like, okay. You know,
I immediately connected with it. As soon as she said it, I literally looked. I said, thank you.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I hear you.
Yeah.
You've been trying to tell me this, and I wasn't listening, so you had to make it loud and clear.
Mm-hmm. You know, it reminds you that... hold on a second. Now, I know you should know. I know he knows this song, but you should know this too. It's more than you.
Still need a lyric.
It is more
than me.
No
No matter what we are.
We are a family.
This dream is for all of us. This one can be real. Something
For all of us. So don't think you're not going anywhere. You're staying and taking your share. And if you get afraid again.
I'll be there. We are a family,
Like a giant
tree, branching out to the sky. We are a family. We are so much more than just you and I.
We are family,
Like a giant
tree.
growing stronger,
Yeah.
growing wiser. We are growing free. We need you, Lord.
Yes. We are
A family.
Yeah, if I wouldn't have known that, I should be slapped. Yeah.
You've been in the show.
Come on,
Miss Dina.
man. Yeah.
Now, to give you a little slack, you didn't sing that part until we are a family. You didn't
Right.
sing the
Right. Exactly. Y'all, it's just terrible. Ginkgo biloba. Which one is for memory? Ginkgo biloba or ginseng?
What?
Which vitamin, herb, something helps with?
I have no idea.
Okay,
Probably one of those.
let's look it up.
It's like, wow, we're here. We'll give you a little medicinal advice in the meantime.
Ginkgo biloba.
So while she's looking at that, I want to look up the quote of the week. So the quote of the week is by Virginia Woolf, and it says, "If you do not tell the truth about yourself,
Ha!
you cannot tell it about people."
A word, y'all. Who said it? Who said
Virginia
it?
Woolf.
Go on, Virginia.
Which is what I was talking about.
Lord.
When the true faithfulness, the true act of faithfulness to God, and how is being faithful to how God made you authentically.
Truthfully, yeah.
And that, therefore, is God's faithful love.
Speak it.
Hiya!
If you do not tell the truth about yourself,
How you gonna make it a question? How you gonna tell the truth about somebody else?
You can't tell the truth
You
about
can't.
yourself.
You can't even claim what you got, but you claiming on what everybody else got. You can't speak on who you are, but you speaking on somebody else. I mean, it's one of those things like there's nothing to say. There is nothing to
Good.
speak about that.
Virginia
It's
is
just there.
saying words that are good. You saying words, Virginia.
I mean, it's
if you don't tell the truth,
about yourself.
let's talk about that. If you don't tell the truth about yourself, so what is the truth about yourself?
The truth is who you are when you ain't putting on the front. Truth is who you are when you are communing with yourself wholeheartedly. If you are straining in your everyday life because how you project yourself outside is different than how you project yourself inside, then you're not truthful to who you are.
I think that the truth. What you say? The truth to who you are.
Who are you?
Who you are is the you that you are when you don't apologize for yourself. Like that's when you stop apologizing for how you were born, what you stand for. That's the you. And it can change because, hopefully we're all out here exposing ourselves to new information. You can change, but who you are in that moment, I think as long as you are not apologizing and making yourself smaller, then that's being who you are. Oh, low back.
I just have a friend who's very, very conscious of what everybody else thinks. And I'm so not that way. And so I try so hard to speak to him, just like, why are you worried about it? You know what I mean? You are who you are. Who cares?
Well, like from a writing standpoint, something that's helped me with that is going first. The first check mark is that I'm writing it for myself. I'm writing it for what I want to hear, what I want to see.
Yeah.
That if I check that off, if I've made myself happy, then whatever else everybody else say, it makes that process easier.
Yes.
You know, and also defining for yourself what are you, what is your art and what is something that, because to me there's a difference between something I'm saying, this is what you see before you on this page, whether you like it or not, is my art, versus I am creating this piece of art to make you think about something. And I think you can do that in your personal art, but then, I do think there is value, and I think about this, especially from like creating a musical, in that fourth collaborator of understanding how other people perceive the art. Because some things, some art is not is not meant for other people to care about other people's reactions.
Right.
But some things are. Some things, like certain plays, certain things you write, you want people to gain a certain thing from it. So I do think there is value in that. But you have to check off that first box of, I've made myself happy. I feel happy when I see this. I think, but then even because T and I are working on a children's show, I was like, I didn't write that music for children. I wrote it for myself. Because especially when I was a child, I didn't want to hear, baby shark do 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 babe. I didn't want to hear that. I wanted ragtime. I was singing ragtime, and not. So it's like, I'm not going to pander down, because also there's between a children's show and like a family show.
Right. And
so it's like, even with that show, I'm like, I want stuff that I would listen to, regardless of whether it's for a kid or not. Because eventually, I don't think everything has to be. In fact, sometimes they have more wisdom than we do.
They always do. I think it's because they're so fresh from God. That they're
just all
like,
fresh.
That they're still like connected to that.
Because we put all of our petty stuff
source. They don't have all the gooky stuff. Sometimes my daughter will say something and I'll be like, what?
Like, who are you, grown person?
Yeah, like she said one of the like first couple weeks after the lockdown, and I was just having a day, like, and at this time she was 2, like 2.5, and I was sobbing on the couch. Like it wasn't one of those moments where I could like just be strong for no. I was like sobbing, and she was like, "Mommy, what's the matter?" And I was like, "Mommy's sad today. Mommy's having a rough day." And she was like, "Oh, Mommy, it's okay. You don't have to cry. You're not alone. I'm here. Daddy's here. You're not by yourself."
That would make me cry more.
Of course. Now I was crying because I was sad, and now I'm not making cry. But I think it's that there's that purity. They're still connected to the source.
This is where all the social consciousness comes in, and all the cues and stuff. She's like, because like a lot of people, they see you crying and they're like, I'm just gonna live in their space. She said, "What's wrong?" She said, "Mommy, you okay?"
Oh, Mommy.
Oh, girl, you cry about that?
Oh, Mommy, you don't have to be sad. I'm here. Daddy's here. You're not alone.
So precious.
And that thought of that, I'm not gonna remember this song.
Nothing's gonna harm you. Oh.
Careful the things you say.
But like the thought that I think is wrapped up beautifully in that song. They are pure. Be careful what you say, because they will listen, and that blocks up their purity.
What song is that?
Careful the things you say, children will listen.
Careful the things you do, children will see that.
And learn the end of Into the Woods.
God, Into the Woods again.
I told you it was going to come up. Children may not obey.
My friend definitely yelled at
Children
me
will listen.
from last week because I didn't know that whatever the Into the Woods reference was.
Always give it Into the Woods. If you don't know, just say Into the Woods.
Okay. Okay.
Children
Got
will
it.
look to you for which way to turn to learn what to be.
You better sing and have a quality and a phrase.
Are you okay?
You okay?
I'm sorry, because he be coming out the woodwork with it sometimes. He be like, oh, you're going to have a phrase? You're going to carry it?
See,
And
now
have
I forgot the rest of the words.
Sorry.
How does it end? To learn what to be.
For which way to turn? I could have just made that up.
Careful before you say, listen to me. Children will listen.
Children
Will listen.
Okay, I need to go listen to Into the Woods.
Yeah.
And
you
watch
need to go listen
it?
to that.
Should I
You need to
watch
go
it?
Listen to the original first. So
Okay.
So on YouTube, watch the original Broadway cast.
Okay.
It's on. They DVD'd it.
Okay.
It's with Bernadette,
All right.
and then listen to Meryl Streep sing last.
'Cause I was going to say,
Those are this.
I was going to say Meryl is in it. And you know,
do it.
Meryl is my friend. That's my homie in my mind.
That song.
I was talking about this the other day, and I was like, I don't care what you thought about the movie. Meryl ate it up.
Okay.
She ate it up.
Okay,
like,
Meryl.
this is why.
Meryl.
And
Life.
Last Midnight for me. I'm sorry, Bernadette, but it. The Meryl Streep gave Bernadette a run for her money.
Okay, but
And-
but Meryl Streep also had the studio.
Wait.
Yeah,
real.
but so
Wait.
did Bernadette. On the
Wait,
original.
stop. We're talking about God not leaving us alone.
Yes, let me
And-
my
Right,
last
we
point.
falling off. We falling off.
Well, my last thing though, what I was gonna say is listen to that because it's
Okay.
the perfect blend of vocal acting as well as actually singing the notes.
Okay. Oh.
Like it's the perfect blend of
He meant
she
that.
sings the house down, but
mean it,
also
but
you
He knew what
hear.
she's saying.
And yes, she did have a studio, so she could hop all over the place. But
But she still did.
it still came out.
Oh, Meryl can do no wrong. Okay, keep going.
I just want to say, when it
Except
comes to
maybe
that
for
song-
Mamma Mia. But
Well, that whole thing is
it's
not,
fine. It's fine. It's fine.
From that song, I know it's called "Children Will Listen," but it always hits me different when it's careful the things you do, children will see.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we always talk about actions are louder than words,
Right.
and the little baby girl might hear you say a cuss word, but she don't know what that means. But she'll see when you do something that makes her uncomfortable.
You better.
You feel me?
You want me to pour this?
She
water?
will see.
Oh, you will say the word.
For example, we'll take this as a and white gaze and not GAYS but GAZE
White.
towards black people. They pick up on that immediately. They see how you look. You can't even say a word, but it's the way you change your demeanor. They will pick up on that,
Oh,
even
yeah.
those slight changes, and that's how they learn it.
Everybody's saying so many words today.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm glad that you. It took me a minute to catch up because you spelled it and you spelled it fast. I was like,
Insert the meme of like the triangle.
yes. Y'all was gone on to glory with the point of the thing. I was like,
And she's sitting over here. What is he talking about?
oh. Okay. Got it. With it.
It's real though. No, yeah.
It is, and they pick up on all of those subtleties. Sometimes even more than what you say.
Always. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's the point I'm trying to make. Like,
Yeah.
Because again, children have to show, what does that mean, mommy? They don't know. You have to teach them that. They have to go look at, nowadays the internet, they can go look it up.
Right.
But they know when you pull them closer, you hold them tighter.
Yeah.
When you walk past a black person, that
Yeah.
equals danger. Because even on like an instinct level, like an animal instinct level, that's what you would,
You're talking. I was going to say it's also reflexive.
Mhm.
It's also when the little black girl sees her mommy
Oh yes.
tighten in.
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I'm supposed to do. It may not even be a scary thing. It's just like that's what mommy does.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
And she survived to this point, so
Well, also, okay.
Oh, she got something.
Okay. Because we are all God's children, right?
Right.
And sometimes when God gives us a word, we don't always run with the word first because we're like, okay, yeah, I remember it. Yes, you spoke that to me. But when God does something,
Speak.
and we see what God does in a moment, then sometimes it
took the
that-
combination.
You see? I did that.
Like back to Marcus, it wasn't
I'm a TV
just
show
what
host.
she said to
I'm a
you,
TV
it was the
show
fact-
host.
It was how she said it to
Yeah,
you
look at
and
me.
how it happened.
Yeah.
It would because you could have heard that a million times.
It's
that
the whole
day.
thing, like, cause if you grew up in the church, you go to church, and if you're actually listening, you'll hear some stuff, but you ain't never been through that.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just like, okay, I hear you, and you're listening because you're supposed to be good, or you're gonna get popped by your mom.
Yeah.
But like, when you get it could happen a week later, but when you grow up and it eventually happens, it clicks. And so again, I just feel like everything is so physical, and that's why that line, careful the things you do.
Yeah.
Because it just more fully encompasses everything. Because when you're speaking to somebody, you're doing something too. Careful the way you speak to so and so.
There is
The way
action in those
this
words.
man speaks to his wife, because that's gonna show your little son how he's speaking to his wife growing up. See what I'm saying?
Even down to writing, looking at the movies. I was thinking about this. I was watching this special on Netflix, The Movies That Made Us, but I've always
mom
been
told me
thinking
about
about
that.
that.
You should watch that.
But it's like you look at somebody was paralleling, like all of these, like you look at like The Notebook, you look at all of these like romantic comedies where you have these persistent men that eventually get the girl in the end. No wonder folks act like they do.
You're right.
Look at the
right.
characters that we grew up on, that we base our,
Yeah.
it's not, that's also something we see as children and learn from.
This is
That's
true.
real.
All the words.
All of it.
Speak it.
I'm ready.
And that's also why representation is important.
Hmm.
And not just saying, oh, there's a black person on screen, or there's a Indian person on screen, or an Asian person on screen, and call it representation. No. But like multiple different types and levels of representation. So like, for instance, a black person within a white world, a black person within a black world, they are different. A black person within an Asian country, all of this is very different. And, the way we get to that is by producing more things like In the Heights.
Yeah.
That, even sure, it was not perfect, but it was an authentic piece, a tiny piece of that culture. And that can be part of the work. That can be part of that. Look at Squid Game. It's... because I know you can watch it dubbed over in English, but I went back to watching it in Korean because I want to hear their vocal performance.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it just didn't work for me.
I want to hear, because it's a completely different show for me when you can hear them emote.
Wow.
But I just want to add to it on a deeper level. I think it's representation and experience matter, and I say that because nowadays, I ain't gonna even name the show, but when Hamilton was big and stuff, there was another show that was coming up, and it was an entirely white company, and they were literally told by producers, like, you won't be able to compete because look at Hamilton, like, why are you doing this? And so they just immediately just made one of the characters black. And that's just what it is.
This is a show that had a movie that recently came out. Okay.
But the point I want to make is that you want to.
That's a whole.
It's more than just representation and seeing somebody that looks like you. If you're just gonna make it a white character that is black, you know what I mean?
It's just like with this. That's my problem with blind casting a lot of stuff. Like blind casting Oklahoma, blind casting all these old shows. I'm like, that's still a white character. Yeah. It's still, and not only just a white character, but written by even if it's not a white character, it's still a white person's voice because the writer is white.
Exactly.
No matter how black you make them, it's still from the point of view of a white person. That representation is good, but even more important is authentic voice from. You look at Squid Game, and I look at all of the people on it, and I'm like, that's part of why it was brilliant, is because everybody on the cast had some real connection to this.
Like, for instance, the movie I just shot is about a father and a son, and it was originally written with the idea that it was going to be just a white family. But then they cast the dad, who's a black man, so obviously the son's going to be black too. And so we had lengthy conversation. I was like, no, I would never say that. I'm a black man, and there's a line we added in where we have to talk about it. Like, a black man in Texas is different than a white man in Texas in 2021. You see what I'm saying? And I wouldn't, like, or for instance, there's a scene where I cuss out my dad. I said, huh?
She's like, you wish you would.
I'm sorry,
You're
but
trying.
you didn't grow up how I grew up.
Mm-mm.
That would never happen. I'm sorry, it just wouldn't. Like it's just those types of things that make it more. It's more about just seeing yourself. It's about seeing yourself and seeing your experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Well, then they talk about this in the Fresh Prince reunion, and they talk about this Fresh Prince. And this had happened on Fresh Prince and 227 and a lot of those shows, probably in the Cosby Show. But part of what made those work, or the ones that did work, the black sitcoms when they never did work, more than likely the writing team was white, if maybe but it was mostly white. But the actors gotta say,
Yeah.
they always had a meeting at the beginning of the week where the actors would go through the script and say, this doesn't work.
Yeah.
And so then you got this combination of real black culture with these people who had been writing, who were really skilled at writing structured sitcoms and have been doing that for years. And that's why they're so good.
Yeah.
It's that combination of really talented writing and this black experience. And I was talking with one of my writing partner, Tia, and I was like, part of me thinks is I haven't ever really seen that. I'm sure there are black people out there that could write like that, but I personally hadn't really met anybody that had both of those qualities together until I met her, who had that. Because she's not just a good writer, she's not just a great writer, she's more than a great writer, but the way she plays with structure and the way she writes at the level of those greats, if not above, and she has the black experience.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, maybe not until now did we really have that in such a way, also combined with people being willing to listen. Or not even really willing to listen. And because not even being willing to listen, it's saying, oh, so they want more black people. Okay, so we'll pay attention a little bit. That's really what's happening. It's not, people aren't really listening. They're doing enough so that people will be quiet.
Yeah.
Not enough. Let me hear Great Is Thy Faithfulness.
Uh-oh.
You better sing it down.
Okay. Great. Is that my first note? Great. Great. Great is thy faithfulness, O God, my Father. There is no shadow of turning, hit it again, with thee. Thou changest not, thy compassions, they fail not. As thou hast been, thou forever will be. Great is thy faithfulness. Great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning, new mercies I see. All I have needed, thy hand hath provided. Great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me. Sing it with me. Summer, thank you, and winter, and springtime, and harvest, sun, moon, and stars in their courses above, join with all nature in manifold witness to thy great
let's close them out with one last song. This song is kind of wraps up a lot of what we're talking about with, you know, how do we begin this certain conversation? How do we do X, Y, Z? And honestly, I think it comes back to faith and saying, you know, I think there's a lot of ways you can look at life, but often I tend to take the point of view of how can I react, not how can I control.
Oh, yikes. That is very good.
Because I can't control.
Sure can.
Mm-hmm. So we'll end with this almost like a prayer for God to order our steps throughout the week and throughout the world as we navigate this change, everything that's going on through this pandemic, so that we might be truthful in ourselves.
Ha! Yeah. Order my steps in your word, dear Lord. Lead me, guide me every day. Send your anointing, Father, I pray. Order my steps in your
In
your word, please order my steps in your word, please order my steps in your word.
I did not know you were gonna play it in that key.
We're coming along. And what the key?
Said,
Oh, no, it was good. Good. Well, thank everybody for coming out tonight. This has been A New Song, episode 2. Thank you, Marcus, for joining us.
having me.
And this has been fun. We hope you'll join us next week. We'll be here Saturday at 5. Share this with your friends and come back next week. We'll see you right here.
Be blessed.